Hi everybody, and welcome back to Halloween Town How-Tos. Today I'm going to be finishing up my Witch's Day Out costume. I want to create kind of like this dragon tail that attaches to the back of the bone corset. And a lot of my pieces, if you've been watching this video, are detachable. And that is just so I can get in the car, I can put these on quickly, and also if I want to sit down and eat somewhere, I can also take them off and it's not overly complicated. I'm just keeping things simple. So I will be getting all dolled up into this costume finally. However, I am not done with the totality of this costume. I love I feel like a drummer. And this is also something I would like everyone's kind of opinion, so please comment. Does this costume need a broomstick, or does it need like a staff or like a Book of the Dead? I don't know. So leave me a comment and let me know what you guys think I should do and make to finish this costume up. So let's just get into this dragon tail. Alright guys, so I did go ahead while I was kind of in bed a lot this week, and I made the vertebrae parts for the dragon tail and also the end piece. And it's very simple how I did it, and I'm going to demonstrate. I just balled up aluminum foil, tin foil, whatever you want to call it. I call it tin foil. That's just growing up. I think it depends on the generation that you grew up, what you would call it. And I used my air dry foam clay. You just take a piece of it and I flatten it out to get any air bubbles out. Now you can tape this up. I just slap it right on, and I just covered it. Might need a little bit more, but I use this very sparingly because it does have a tendency, when it's too bulky, gravity will take hold of this and like drag it down. So for projects that you have to build upon, I think I haven't used this for projects you have to build upon, but I'm guessing you might have to wait for it to dry in between to layer on top. So alright, so I'm just kind of squeezing the sides to round it off a little bit, and then I just go ahead and start flattening the top using this kind of semicircle of my fingers to create that vertebrae look. And then that's what I do to the other side. It's quite easy if you want to do vertebrae, and obviously it can vary in size, so that way you have a nice gradation. That's sort of what I did. So here it is. I don't care that there's a little bit of aluminum foil sticking out, because I'm going to take and roll this into a little spaghetti, and this does stick to itself very nicely. So the part that had the little tin foil, guess what? I'm just going to stick this right on it and just kind of flatten it a bit. And you can create these side parts to the vertebrae however you want. You can be really detailed. You can just do one, like one had broken off. You can do both. So it's really up to whatever you want to do in your piece. So I'm just gonna pretend. So, I mean, like I said, I don't want to say I'm not very detailed oriented, but I'm just like, if it visually triggers that identification, that's good enough for me with pieces like this. Now, if I was, like, I know I'm entering a contest, but no one is going to be sitting and a group of people going over and like looking close up at the construction of this. It's just visual. So that's how I made those. And I have a bunch of stuff here. I know I made some creepy hands, and this is for something else. But I did want to add more bones to my side bumps, so I just created a hand. I created whatever kind of bone this is. What else did I do? I did another tooth. I did kind of like this chicken claw kind of foot. So all that stuff, all of this needs to be painted. But I just wanted to show you kind of what I did. So these are kind of my big ones, and after I was done I kind of stuck them together so that way they would dry together. And these guys, if you can hear, they've been dried for about a week now. Like here's a smaller one. So I have different sizes. I even have some white ones. They're all getting painted anyway. And then this is the bottom piece of my dragon tail. And what I'm going to do is I need to seal these first before I paint them black. And I'm going to do that with some Mod Podge sealer. So that's what I need to do now. And also, if you're wondering what I seal my outdoor stuff with, I use this. It is a non-yellowing acrylic sealer, and I'm using matte because I don't want my stuff shiny unless that's what I want, but I do prefer a matte look all the time. Alright, so this is pretty easy. Yeah, just do this. And I know some people do multiple coats. I'm a lazy artist at times, most of the time. And I'll do one coat, and if I feel like it needs another coat, I'll do it. But meh. So I'm going to continue this, and I'll bring you back when everything is dried. Alright, so this guy is pretty dried. Sometimes there's just areas when the Mod Podge gets thick, it creates kind of like this white pigmented spot. I don't care, because my black paint is going to cover it. And I'm using exterior black paint. I guess you don't have to for this, but I have a gallon of it. And so that's what I'm gonna use. I have a gallon of exterior white and black paint because I tend to use a lot of those two colors. Now let me move this down. Alright, so you can see what I'm doing. And my gallon of paint is on my floor right down here, so. But you just go. I mean, you guys know how to paint. Alright. So I'm going to go ahead and paint everything. And when it's dry, I'll bring you back again. I do have to say, in case you're wondering why I am sealing up the air dry foam clay. When I first used it There's no directions on these packages. But if you're using clay, like air dry clay, you don't have to seal it and then paint it. You can paint it right away. So I was under the impression that with the air dry foam clay, you can just paint right over it and it will be fine. That is not the case. So what I had found with doing not so much underwater gal, and I think that's because I used very little clay and a lot of aluminum foil structure in it, that I didn't have the problem that I did when I did the Bat Boy. I made him, let him dry, and then spray painted him black. I didn't seal him because I thought that the spray paint would create enough of a barrier where I didn't have to. And he melted. So it basically reabsorbed the moisture from the spray paint, or if you use any paint that has any moisture, it reactivates this clay. So that's why you have to do a sealer, paint, and then if this is going outside, you have to do an outdoor sealer. If not, you can just do another Mod Podge seal on it. So if you're wondering why, that is why. And if you've been watching this whole series, you know what color comes next. It's going to be the gold dry brushing of everything. That is okay. So I guess I could probably start painting at this point. Oh, sweet Jesus. Okay. So everybody should know how to dry brush. If you don't, and sometimes, so I just go into the cap or just the bottle itself and I just put it back. Why am I going to brush it off on a napkin and waste it? Just brush it off with the cap so that way it drips back in. You know? Like, all right, what am I starting with? I'll start with Mr. Hand here. Just very simple dry brushing, guys. I might do, you know, some heavy spots, but, you know, just getting the gold on, but not pressing hard to lose all of that nice black detail. There's not really details, but they're just grooves. They just add some depth to these pieces. So that is what I'm going to continue to do, guys. So just like that, and just like that. And I'm not being too picky, because this is going to be hanging off of the dress. It's going to be moving. No one's going to be looking at it like this and say, oh my God, this doesn't look like a hand. Why are the knuckles like that? No, they're gonna see it from far away and be like, that's a hand. Like I keep saying repeatedly. So I'm gonna do this and I will be back. So now that the gold is dried, I'm gonna start attaching these. And I'm not using wire on like the length of it. I am going to be attaching wire to the first one, so I'm going to be making like a hook for this to hook into the back of the corset. But I'm using a needle and thread, and I'm doubling up the black thread to just make sure it's a little thicker. And then, because I want this to sit with the vertebrae being horizontal, I need to thread this that way. So that way when it lays this way and doesn't twist to either way. and I want to go down about a 1/2 inch. I do have to go through that foil ball, so I'm just placing the needle on my desk and gently pressing down to get the needle to come through. But I also need to grab that just to pull it through. And then what I will be doing with this, so I have, and I'm just making this up as I go along, people. I really don't have a plan for this. It's all trial and error, but in my head this makes the most sense. So I need to find the next set of bones that I want, which I think are these. So then I'm going to bring this up some. It's knotted down here, so I have a good, like, maybe 6 inches right now. I'm going to put the needle through this. And be careful not to stab yourself. And I don't know where the needle went through this. So maybe this isn't such a great idea. Yeah, lost it. Okay. All right, so I'm creating some space between these two, and then this is where I'm going to tie my ribbon. But I think I might shorten that a little bit. Let's see. It's very interesting. Just finding everything very interesting lately. Okay, so I'm just gonna cut this string off. I am giving myself plenty of string to work with. So here you go. So this is kind of my idea. And then some ribbon. So I'm going to continue that, and when I'm done, I will bring you back. I have it all together now, and I used a really thick gauge wire when I was making the bone corset and the shoulder straps. I don't think I'm going to use that for this because it's I don't know, I just think maybe floral wire would be a little bit easier because it's thinner. Like I can almost use it like a twist tie, and I thought about using a twist tie. I'm not going to do that. So I think I'm just going to do it this way. And after I have it on, this is a green cloth. I'm just going to paint it black. I'm just giving myself enough wire. And I'll clip that end off too. And well, something just went wrong. It came untied. Can't get everything right on the first try. at least the whole thing didn't come apart. So what I did was I took my glue gun and just where I knotted it, I hit it with some glue where the knots are, so that way hopefully it will help. And so here is the segmented spine, and all I'm going to do is put this through it just like the needle, but I'm going a little bit lower because of I don't want there to be a problem with weight. That up. And then let me grab that so I can have this hanging from it and I can work from it. Alright, so when I redid this, I just went through both sides and then twisted it so I just have one strand. And then just need to figure out so now I can adjust the height too with, like, I think I want it started like down there. So for now, I'm just going to twist it like that because I forgot on these pieces to add this. See what happens when you don't do stuff for a little while? So I'm going to dry brush this on a little bit in some spots to add some more depth to this. I thought I hit record and I did not. So when I hit record, or when I thought I was done videoing, I hit the button, but I actually started recording. And so I'm just, obviously I started, but I have 2 more to do. So I just figured I would show you. I am just taking these 2 pieces of thread. I have a piece of the vegan leather that I am using for this project, and I am pinching the thread together with it with hot glue, and this really hurts. Don't do this. Actually, it's on low, so it doesn't hurt as bad, but please don't do that. You'll get very bad burns. I mean, see, my finger's like really red right now, and if that was on high, oh my god, it probably would have burnt blister time. So next is my bow. Just cut. I'm not looping it, I'm keeping it just like this because I am running out of this ribbon. And then I am taking a piece of leather and making the center of the bow made out of it. Alright, so I just folded it and glued it, and then because this does have wire in it, I'm able to kind of just stretch it out a little, do whatever I want with it. And that came apart. Yippee. And I'm just gluing it right to this piece. Hot glue again. And that's how I'm making the bows all the way down. Alright, so I'm done the bows in between. And I did add some more swags of pearls on this. I felt like when I tried it on, it didn't have enough. And I did go ahead and also add the other pieces to the side bumps. But just to give you a closer look, I still have to paint this, not a big deal, but my next step that I need to do with this is all of the ribbon I need to distress and make kind of dirty looking. And then all of these pieces, and this includes my side bumps, I think that's it. I have to do a green patina on these guys, so that's what I'm going to do next. Alright, so I'm going to mix these two greens together. What are they? Very Bright Green and Apple Orchard. And then I'm going to do some English Navy. Alright, I added a little more green to it. So all I do is I just take it and spray it and let it do that. And wherever I feel like there's too much of it, I can dab it away. But I'm going to build on these layers to bring out more of the green. So that's what I'm going to be doing. Alright guys, so that is going to do it for this video. Let me know what you think about my costume, what sort of accessory I should have with this, whether it is a broom, a staff, or a book. I know which way I'm leaning, but I'd like to hear from you guys. And what do you think of the makeup with the costume? I do have to say the one big change that I will be doing is replacing the red corset. I feel like it is drawing your attention too much to it, and it's very hard to distinguish between the corset and that red. It's just it's competing too much. So I think black would keep it a little bit more simpler. So that's really my only big change, and then possibly might add something to my sleeves. And nothing crazy, just something like little to add. And something else that I totally forgot, these guys were never patinaed. And I realized it when I was hooking it on, but it's no big deal. I have the wash already set up from doing the wash from earlier, so I'll just hit that. No big deal. So with that, guys, as always, get making, get creative, and I will see you next time on Halloween Town How To's. Bye-bye, everybody.